introduce yourself.
Yeah, this is I Am Body, Live Breach Soccer. We'll be talking about some soccer stuff on here, going into detail analysis of games, leagues, players, and looking forward to it. You guys will have a good time out here. No filters.
Hey, this is Rick Verkant, and me and Iron Body are with AX Football, our channel. We're starting to talk about football, professional football or soccer, whatever you want to call it, depending on where in the world you are. So today, our first topic is going to be top 4 teams in each of the leagues. And the leagues we're going to be looking at are La Liga, the Bundesliga, the Serie A, and the Premier League. So I'm going to pull it up for you right quick so you can see.
And they better call it football, man. The foot, man. These idiots call it soccer and stuff.
But we're going to have fans all over the world, so it can be football or soccer.
Forget them, man.
All right, so this is, let's go to La Liga first. So here's your La Liga table. Real Madrid sitting comfortably on top with 42 points, with the game in hand over Sevilla, who's second with 34. So who do you think is going to finish in this top 4 when it's all said and done?
Ooh, in this one, I think this one would be an easy one. Real Madrid finishing first. Atletico Madrid will work their way back to second. That was a tough loss they took the other day to Real. I think Real Sociedad will get in that third. And Barcelona is not who they used to be, but I still feel they might sneak in at fourth.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, so you think Xavi's got the African voodoo working in his favor? He's going to magically turn this team around, huh?
No, he'll get some players over the winter transfer window. If I was him personally, I'll just rate Martial from United, take Van de Beek, take them all on loan, even just a Lingard and maybe a Sterling. Take them on loan to the end of the season, make a quick run, and then sign them if you have to or whatnot. But they have the name, man. So players will always want to go there.
Well, I think that's a smart move to get some loans going because they don't have the money to buy players for sure. But if you're Sterling or Van de Beek or Martial, wouldn't you rather stay in the Premier League with a team like Newcastle where you're guaranteed to play every week and you're going to get paid top dollar in wages because Newcastle have that kind of money? Or would you want to go to Barcelona where there's all this pressure to win and not necessarily knowing the circumstances of how the games are going to go?
That's a good point, but bro, man, there's also guaranteed relegation. You can't take off that your resume, man. Just like somebody wins a World Cup, even if they didn't play 1 minute, they're like, yo, I won the World Cup. If you get relegated too, doesn't matter. And all those players, they're in their prime right now. They need to win. And also from like a commercial standpoint, Newcastle won't be there yet. So you want to play at a club where you'll be on TV pretty much every week. They'll probably show a couple of Newcastle games, so who cares about that?
Right. Well, Barcelona for sure is going to be on ESPN in La Liga, and they're going to be on CBS Sports Thursday nights, Europa League, big time.
Barcelona and Europa League, man, whoever thought. And they said Messi wasn't the only person that's building them. He leaves Europa League.
Oh, that's all right. They better handle it. Well, for me, Real Madrid will probably win it. No problem. Top 4, I don't think Barca will make it back, but I do agree with you that Atletico Madrid will make a push for second spot. And then I think the other 2 positions, Sevilla and Real Betis, no room for Sociedad in this one.
All right, man. We shall see.
All right, our next one, the Bundesliga.
Man, this league, man. You know the top 2 pretty much every year. Let's
Well,
see. Yeah.
do you think Bayern will end up as winners, or do you think Dortmund can actually give them a challenge?
Nah, Dortmund are always going to be fucking bridesmaids, man. The the idiots. First of all, they always sell their players over to Bayern Munich, so I don't think Dortmund will give them a run for it. Bayern Munich will win it pretty easy. What? It's 9 points now.
Right,
Bayern,
9 points, but a game in hand.
yeah. Even with that said, I don't see Bayern losing 3 games the rest of the season. It will get to 9 points eventually without the game in hand. So I think that makes it tough. I think Bayern finished first, Dortmund finishes second. I think Hoffenheim is going to go into third. And for fourth, I think it'll probably be Leverkusen. That'll be Hoffenheim have been looking pretty good this year too. I'll go on a limb here and say Hoffenheim is going to get in at fourth spot.
Okay, so you're keeping the top four as it is right now.
Yeah, I don't see anybody else coming up. Yeah, nobody else will make the cut. I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I
Surprised by Leipzig though. Red Bull, man. Wow, that's a big drop off. Coach leaves and they're 20 points behind. That's crazy.
Well, Nagelsmann isn't the only one who left. They also lost Konate to Liverpool. Upamecano and Sabitzer are at Bayern, right? They're one of their rivals. And then they lost Werner last year to Chelsea. So the coach has won, but they also lost 4 pretty considerable players in their lineup. Wouldn't you expect them to drop off a little bit?
I suppose, man, but man, Werner, that guy, them losing Werner is actually a game. That guy is trash. He has break for a foot, man. A guy couldn't finish, man. So I don't think that's a loss. I think Upamecano is the big one for them, and then obviously the coach. So, but hey, maybe they'll come back again. You will see. The German league is not that hard to move up into the top 4. So,
That's fair. And
they hired an American coach too, man. That's their second mistake they made, man.
well, we'll find out. Let's give the new coach some time to sort things out. And if he can't move up higher, then maybe we can give Jesse Marsh some slack and say, hey, you know what? Maybe it wasn't your fault. But certainly did not make a good account for Americans abroad. That's for sure. Back to Werner, you're saying that he's not great and he has brick for feet, and that's fine. But just looking at the system and the way it was set up, that was a system where he could succeed, where he had Josef Paulsen, attracting in center backs and maybe winning headers and knocking down balls. And then he could run in behind using his speed. And I actually think Tuchel was trying to set it up the same way by bringing in Lukaku to have 2 strikers, which he's tried a few times and it hasn't really worked all that well, and have Lukaku kind of be the more physical, aggressive hold-up player, and Werner a little bit more flexible who can run in behind. So I think Tuchel's going to keep trying it. But Werner is definitely, for me, a player who has to play in that kind of system where there's somebody bigger who can hold up the ball so he has the freedom to run in behind. I don't see him ever being successful as a lone striker on his own as a number 9.
His style of play, the way he plays, man, it only works in Germany. Just because they play such a high line and he's so fast. But most of what other league can you go into where teams play that high line?
France, Netherlands.
Yeah, but France, they play high line, man. But they got some Africans that they're fast, man. In Germany, if you have that speed, man, they play that high line. Everybody's doing the gang press now. He probably finishes what I think his last season he had 23 goals. I bet you if we were to go and see how many chances he actually had, he probably had 80 and scored maybe 23. So if you do the math, it's not a good finisher. But most people don't do it. They just look, oh, he scored 23 goals. It'll translate to EPL. Look at Pulisic. They didn't work out so well, right? Though his is a little bit different. He keeps getting injured, but still. Mkhitaryan, you can name them. So many players. that came from Germany over to EPL or other leagues that struggle. Maybe the one that probably did the best, I'll say, was Son at Tottenham, but it took him a while for him to become the player we know today. So I just think that guy is trash, man. Werner is trash. I don't care what anybody says.
That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion on Timo Werner. I don't think he's anything special, but for sure there are certain ways of style that you can fit him in that'll make him more effective. And I don't think, like you said, in the EPL, it's a place where he's going to be successful.
No, the only style he fits into is the freaking bench, man. That's it.
Well, for me, I see Bayern winning for sure. No problem there. Dortmund will finish in the top four, but I don't think they'll finish second. I think they're still a little bit too soft, especially when it comes to some of the weaker teams that they slip up against. So I think they might drop as low as third, maybe even fourth. Leverkusen, I think, will finish in the top four, maybe second. And my other team I'm going to throw in there actually is Eintracht Frankfurt. I feel like they're not getting enough credit for how well they've been playing this season. Just given a few injuries, once they get their best 11 back to full fitness, I actually think you'll see Frankfurt climb up a little bit in this table, and I think make a run for the top four.
So then you leave in Hoffenheim off.
Yep, I'm leaving out Hoffenheim. I don't think they make it in the top four.
Not bad, I guess. Yeah, from fourth through even say 10th is pretty close. Anyone can just flip it over the next 15, 20 games left. So
that's true. All right. So just in case people haven't been able to follow along, we're actually doing these leagues in the order of we think easiest to toughest. So we thought calling Real Madrid champions now is a pretty easy call to make given their healthy league. And even if they do get a few injuries, they should still be able to finish that one out. Bundesliga is usually a pretty easy one to call. The Serie A, though, this season has been pretty tough. Napoli and Roma both started out very well, but haven't looked great as of late. AC Milan just a few weeks ago looked pretty comfortable in top spot, but now it's Inter Milan. So who do you see finishing top four in the Serie A this season?
Man, once somebody get addicted to winning, man, it's hard. I think Inter Milan winning last year, they might do it again this year. I think so. You know, any team Conte leaves still wins the year after. So whatever he does, it lasts for a couple of years. AC Milan's Zlatan, of course, keeps scoring. I don't know how the hell the guy's doing that at freaking 40 years old, but only those Bosnians are not normal, man. I think Inter Milan probably, I think they probably go ahead and win it. I think AC will come in second. I think Napoli will come in. They always choke, but I think they'll come in third. Atlanta, I'm not putting in that. Those guys can't defend for their life, man. And then my favorite, Juventus, Mamma Mia. Frick. I don't know what's going on over there, man. That's what happened when you just give a team to an ex-player who doesn't have experience. I honestly think Juventus will miss out on Champions League for the first time in who knows how long. I think it'll be tough for them. I think the next one is going to be, I think Jose might do some magic. He might pull in there and get the fourth spot. So Roma.
Okay, not a bad call. I actually only see one change in the top four. I think Inter Milan will win it, like you said, just given their consistency is a lot better than all the other teams who are battling for the top spot. AC Milan, yes, they do have their moments, but they are very inconsistent. And if they get Zlatan or Hernandez injured, who's a left back, but also very important to their attack, Rafael Leao, if they get a few significant injuries, even for a game or two, they're going to slip up. Whereas Inter, I think they just all have that mentality that they want to win. They want to be first. So I'll give Inter top spot. AC Milan will finish top 4, maybe not second. Atalanta, I agree with you, won't finish in the top 4. They're just conceding too many goals, and they're also not scoring enough. And I don't see them sustaining this run throughout the season. So I'll give Napoli second spot. I think AC Milan will drop to 4th, and I'll give Fiorentina actually 3rd place. I think that they're a very consistent side. Maybe need to be a little bit better defensively, but I like the way they're playing right now. And Atalanta, I'm not too confident about. So Inter.
The other thing too, man, is with what if Conte goes back and buys some of those Inter Milan players, man? Inter needs money, man. That might turn them around, They have some players that he probably want to take with him.
That's true. He does have a little bit of money to spend at Tottenham. And I would imagine Inter Milan, in their situation, needing some finances, would be willing to sell a few players, the likes of Brozovic, Barella, heck, even Vidal, I think, would be useful to a lot of other clubs, maybe not necessarily Tottenham given his age, but certainly I think people like Conte as a manager, and if you had that experience of winning with him before, why wouldn't you follow him to Tottenham? So that's an interesting point to bring up as well, something to keep an eye out as the transfer window opens in 15 days here. All right, the last one, everybody's favorite league. The English Premier League. Who do you see finishing in the top 4 here?
Oh, shoot, this academy team, Arsenal, is winning. Top 4, I'm a United fan, so, but man, they've been crap for 3 years, and I never like Ole. I never like the guy. He's a second place mentality guy. I think I don't like City. I don't like Liverpool. I don't want either to win, but I think City is looking pretty scary right now, to be honest. And I believe, they lose the fewest players to the Africans Cup of Nations. So I think that's going to give them a huge advantage. I think City probably goes on to win. I think Liverpool finishes second. I think United is going to finish third, and I think Chelsea fourth, believe it or not. I think the changes United made, it will take some time to get them playing the way the coach wants, but they have too much talent to, just on talent alone, they'll get some results, which will get them in there. And then obviously West Ham is losing right now, so United wins their next game and they jump them. So I think
so. Well, what do you think changes at Manchester United? They're not scoring many goals, as you can see from the top 5 teams. They have the least amount of goals scored, and they're also conceding a decent amount. They've got the most goals conceded from those top 5 teams. So do you think Rangnick is going to make this team defensively better or offensively better? Well, what do you see changing that's going to?
I think both. If you look, his first 2 games, they've had 2 shutouts already. So that's a sign. First, he switched the 2 outside back. Dallo playing now. Teller's playing, I think, way better than the 2 previous outside back, Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka. That guy is a freaking giraffe, man. He can't control a fucking ball. But that being said, he needs to get rid of Maguire and either play Bailly and Lindelof or Varane and Lindelof. I don't care, as long as some cement mixer is not there. Way too slow. Midfield, man, this is what people probably don't want to hear, man, but I won't play Bruno Fernandes. I think he's trash. The guy can't pass gas. So if you can't do that, you're not good. He was living off PKs and now those dried up. And then I'll probably take off Rashford too. Similar complaints that I had about Werner. Rashford is a silent type player. So I think you take Rashford out, either bring in Martial, who can hold up the play, link up for you if you're doing two forwards with Ronaldo, so he can drop into the middle. Or personally, at this age, I won't play Ronaldo because it doesn't fit the way the new manager likes to play, but Ronaldo gets goals. The problem is you can't have both Ronaldo, Bruno, and Rashford on the field at the same time. All three of them want to they shoot first, pass second. So I have to get Greenwood in there, Martial in there, and then throw a Pogba in there. You do that, I think you start to get goals because Martial pass, Greenwood, he's a shoot first, but he's a better finisher than Rashford. And then Pogba, that's all he likes to do. The guy plays the game for fun. I personally think he's top five player in the world, but we'll see. United kind of brought him down a little bit, but that's what I'll do. I think they'll score more and they'll give up less goals. So they should be able to crack top four. And I think they'll jump Chelsea. I do think Chelsea will go through a tough patch. And normally Chelsea, every year, if you go and look in history, in December, they always struggle. Every year they struggle in December, and this December, the exact same thing is happening again. So I'm guessing, the Russian owner goes to Russia or something, so they start to relax, start losing games. So
well, in
that's
Russia,
what I think.
they have a winter break, right? So maybe this is Chelsea's winter break.
Yeah, man. I don't know. If you look, every year, winter December hits and they start falling off, and then they probably fire a coach. Somebody shows up in January and gets them to Champions League or wins it. So that would be my top four. And then Arsenal, I always like Arsenal thinking they can make it in there, but I think they'll come short again.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Spurs have 2 games in hand.
The COVID, they haven't played.
Yeah. They'll end up having 3 games in hand after today.
That's true. But I don't think that's necessarily a good thing because this is the festive period. So if they try to squeeze these games in the next month, they're looking at 8, maybe 9 games in over a month, a little over a month, which is just too many games. So I don't think that's a very sustainable way to get the points back.
I think they'll push it out.
And maybe aren't that great.
They'll push it out further out, and also they didn't even get out of the conference league, so so they have all the time in the world, man.
That's fair. So we'll talk a little bit more about Manchester United after we get through the end of this here. I also don't like City. Like yourself, I'm a Manchester United fan, but they are just, I think, better than everyone else right now. You could argue Liverpool will go toe-to-toe with them, and that'll be a pretty exciting game. However, City are barely conceding any goals, even though they struggle to score most of the time, apart from yesterday against Leeds, who we know is a very attack-minded team. I think City just have more quality, both on the field and on the bench. And if they need to pass you to death and win the game 1-0, they will pass you to death and win the game 1-0. Whereas Klopp, Liverpool, I think, want to attack. That's their MO. I don't think, even though it's just 2 games that they'll be without Mane and Salah, who else is going to step in and win those games? I don't see them doing too well without them for 2 games. Chelsea, like you said, having a little bit of a dip in form. West Ham doing all right. David Moyes has a little juju jinx on him. He can't beat Arsenal. I think they said 13 or 14 games at Arsenal, no wins. It's just ridiculous, and it looks like it's going to be a 15th after tonight. They're down 1-0 and just had a man sent off. Arsenal themselves, they're okay. Had a little bit of a resurgence, but still not super convincing. Leicester was the team I thought maybe could do a nice push for top 4, but they've just struggled with balancing the Premier League, a few injuries, as well as the Europa League. So I'm not sure. I think City for sure win it. Liverpool finished top 4, but will challenge City for sure. Chelsea, if they can get back into the groove of things quickly, I think could also still challenge, but they'll also finish top 4. The fourth spot is a tough one. That's the one I'm not too sure on. I want to say United because that's my team, but Manchester United, I just see way too many issues at the moment. So I'll give it to Arsenal. Why not?
Do you see the missed PK by Lacazette?
Yeah, I saw that one. Commentator's curse. I just said they'll get top four, and then Lacazette shoots the PK right at Fabianski. That's how life is sometimes, though.
Dude, you depending on Arsenal to do anything right, man, it's like expecting Santa to show up for a little kid, man.
That's their number. They love four. They love being four spot, top four. That's their thing. Back in the Wenger times, all they were hoping for is top four.
Bro, they are an academy team, man. That's all they are. Well, if you keep buying all these young players, selling, you never know. I think Arteta is not that bad of a coach. You can actually see what he wants him to do. But unfortunately, I think he's a bit too arrogant. He hasn't earned the players' respect, and he's expecting them to do something for him, which I think he went in a bit too harsh. And it started with the way he treated Ozil. I think that was like the kiss of death for him. And this year he's doing it to Lacazette now, Pepe, not Lacazette, Aubameyang, and then Pepe, Janduzi, what's the guy that went to Lille, the defender? He's actually pretty good too. Shoot. Forgot his name. But he came down straight heavy-handed, You just showed up, you don't do that. You don't move into a house and just tell everybody you're going to repaint the whole fucking house, So it is what it is. I just enjoy. I have a lot of Arsenal friends, fans that are friends. So it's always fun to go back and forth with them. So
well, I agree. Arteta's a good manager, or has the potential to become one, but has just been a little bit irrational with some of his decisions, and definitely harsh in how he's handled a few things. But isn't that what you want from a manager, to come in, stamp their authority on things, and let people know what they want?
Yeah, that's what you want when that manager has the resume to live off. But Arteta doesn't. He was freaking setting up cones at City. It's one thing if he's coming in like, hey, you know what I did this here and there, or if his stature was high enough, and you can see it. It was the same thing with, look how Vieira is now doing at Crystal Palace. He went and learned his trade, US, France, and now he got to Premier League. As soon as he shows up, the players will respect. The players, they know the levels, You played soccer at a high level, I played. You know the shit players when you're in the team. You're like, this player sucks, man, right? Same thing with managers. If they don't rate you, it doesn't matter what you say, because half of the time they'll say you aren't even that exceptional of a player. Yep. So you normally have to go somewhere, build first, and then eventually end up at the big club, which I think that was the problem that United had with Ole, Chelsea had with Lampard, Juventus had with Pirlo. And in this situation, you cannot just go, because I was an elite player, all of a sudden I can just coach other elite players in the biggest club. Steven Gerrard is doing it the proper way. Went to Rangers, not the biggest one. Aston Villa, he's slowly doing it. So his next move will most likely be Liverpool, or one of the top clubs. Then it'll make sense. There's progression. So that's what I think. I think the players just they can't trust them. That's the problem.
Well, that's a fair point. So now we've established our top fours. Let's just focus on Manchester United for a little bit here.
Yeah, the fun starts now, man. They need to cut half those players, man.
You've already made your opinion known about who you want to be out of the club. And you spoke about Harry Maguire. A lot of people thought he was a great defender, and certainly I think the British pundits use his injury as an excuse to start saying all of the things we've been talking about for years now that he's not good at. He's slow. He's not very technical. He thinks he has this beautiful long ball, but he really doesn't. It barely comes off. I don't see him fitting into Rangnick's style, because if you're going to press high and if you're going to counter press, you also need to play a high line. And like you were saying earlier about some of the other leagues, if you're going to play high line, you need speed in your back line. And Harry Maguire certainly isn't that. I heard Julian Laurens on ESPN the other day talk about how Lindelof suddenly is starting to pass the ball and venture into midfield a little bit. He's actually been doing that for a few years. Just probably people haven't noticed because, well, the attention's not on Lindelof.
Yep.
Lindelof, like we've talked about, actually can pick a pretty good long ball. He is fairly technical, maybe not the fastest, but if you play Lindelof next to Varane, you can play that higher bit of a line because you have two players who can actually play the ball out of the back. Two players who maybe between the two of them have a fair amount of speed to be able to deal with counterattacks. So do you think Harry Maguire stays at United? If not this season, then how much longer do you think he has before they get rid of him?
First of all, they should just move him out, man, because it's that British tax, man. I swear to God, man. As long as the player is British, man, they put that hefty tax on there, that Brexit stuff. I think the mistake they made was the World Cup he played in. Everybody said, "Oh yeah, he was good," blah blah blah. If you really look at the run up in the World Cup, England didn't have that many difficult teams. And same with the Euros. Just this past summer in the Euros, he looked good. Luke Shaw looks good. They didn't have a difficult team to play until they got to the semifinals in the World Cup and they got to the final in the Euros. So that's the first thing. Second thing is the guy has been relegated 4 times, bro. How are you going to pay 80 million for a guy who's been relegated 4 times? He shows up and all of a sudden he's captain. Mistake number two by Ole. You don't just bring him in and make him captain. He has to come and earn his stripes. It's not like this is freaking a small club. This is probably the bigger in terms of fan base, the biggest club in the world. So you can't just bring him in and make him captain. So I just see, I think if Varane can be healthy, eventually I do think we'll phase him off. I think you always need a balance. Him and Lindelof, they're not good together because they're both not the fastest. Lindelof is a good passer, Maguire is not, but Maguire is not fast. And if you remember, the year before Maguire came, it was Lindelof and Smalling, and United had some of the fewest goals against that season. Why? Because Smalling had the speed to cover for Lindelof. Lindelof was the passer. So you always need that balance. I do like my brother, Eric Bay, but man, that African in him, man, and me, man. You never know when he's going to get that red card. So like, the guy's a madman. So him and what do you call it, Rudiger, man. You can't kill that in players. So, but I think they have to move him on after this year or next year. The problem is nobody's going to buy him on the wages that he's on. And then when he's going, man, he should probably bring Luke Shaw with him, man. That guy's been there for 8 years, haven't done anything. Had a good 3 months last year after they bought Tellez. Then he started working and then he got back into his comfort zone. So I'll get rid of both of them.
Well, I think Luke Shaw will stay there. Maybe you have a point. He won't be the starting choice left back because the Alex Telles has been looking pretty good. And you bring up a good point. It wasn't until Telles came in that Luke Shaw kind of decided, oh crap, now I gotta get my act together. There's this guy who's gonna take my spot. And 2 years ago, even before that, Luke Shaw didn't even look like somebody who could cross a ball. And then Tellez comes in. I remember a game where he had a couple of really good balls in for Cavani to put his head on. And suddenly the game after that, Luke Shaw can cross the ball. And I'm like, okay, so what took you so long that you decided now is the time you want to show people that you can actually cross the ball correctly? So that I think is just nonsense. Maguire has to go. I think we both agree on that one. Getting into the midfield, defensive.
Oh man, don't even get me. I forgot about McDummy, man.
Brad has been great. Even before the past, I don't know, month or so, we've always liked Fred. Yes, he's not the greatest technically, but he works hard, and you always need at least one player to have that profile. McDummy, for those who don't know, we call Scott McTominay McDummy, just because he makes a lot of very interesting decisions, poor decisions in the midfield if you watch him closely. We don't rate him very highly. I don't think you necessarily have to get rid of him, but he should not be somebody who's starting at Manchester United. I don't think he's that caliber of player. The excuse they always give is that, oh, he's young, he's learning the trade.
He's not young though. He's
What is he,
26.
26?
Yeah, bro.
Nicolo Barella, same age, great player. Frankie de Jong, younger, great player. How much longer does McTominay need for people to finally admit, oh, he's not gonna cut the cheese? You know, he's not the caliber of player United should be looking for to play next to somebody like Fred. Matic, I think he's old, done the best he could, had his best years at Chelsea. I think Mourinho just had a love affair with him, so he wanted to bring him to United, which is fine. Done as much as he could. Time to move on from Matic.
They have Van de Beek who can play in there.
But I don't think in the 4-4-2 Van de Beek is somebody who you want playing next to Fred. I think he plays on.
No, I won't play him next to Fred. But
winger positions, so he's more of an attacking midfielder, which I think is his best position. Van de Beek is attacking midfield. I'm talking.
To be honest with you, what I would do,
they bring in to play next to Fred.
To be honest with you, right now, let's just say you can't find the players that you want. What I would do, what my lineup would be David De Gea, goalie, Telles left back, Varane and Bailly in the middle, center backs. Right back would be Dallo, and then I'll move what's his name, Lindelof to the holding midfielder to the 6th position. I'll make Fred the 8, Pogba the 10, right? So Lindelof and Fred will be the 2 of the base, and then Ralph likes to play 4-2-2-2, and then ahead of him, I'm gonna make Pogba and Van de Beek right below the 2 center forwards, and then I'll go Martial, Ronaldo, or sometimes Greenwood, Ronaldo. Personally, I would drop Ronaldo, but unfortunately, you got to respect what he's done in the game. He doesn't do much for you when you're not on the ball, but man, the guy can score, man. So you can't slag him off. But that'll be the lineup I'll do. Then you have players that are all technical. If you look at this lineup right now, United's lineup, most of them are not technical, but all the defenders outside of Bay are technical. Your midfielders, you have Lindelof as the base, so he'll be the passer distributor, and then Fred will break up the play. In front of him, Pogba and Van de Beek both technical. Ahead of him, Greenwood, Martial, and Ronaldo, pretty good. Ronaldo, I don't consider him per se technical. I think that's up for debate, but he doesn't manipulate the ball. I run with the ball. When he was younger, he used to be much more technical, but when he went to Spain, he wanted to just get goals and surpass Messi. He kind of changed his whole game around. But I think you put that team on the field, they're beating most teams, and they're playing good soccer, good fun soccer that you want to watch. Not this freaking fossil football, Brexit football that we've seen from McTominay, freaking Shaw, and what's the other one? Maguire, man, and Rashford. And then, sub Bruno in here, and then sub Rashford. Then Rashford is the last 25-minute type of player when the defense is tight, because he's still making the same dumb mistake decision he made when he was freaking 18. And Rashford is 24 now? He's not young.
No. Same excuse that McDummy gets all the time, that he's young and he's going to learn the trade and all that stuff. But as you know, 24, 25, 26, you should be starting to get close to your peak at that age, for sure. So let's say Rangnick does some magic. He's going to need to bring in a few players. We don't necessarily think he needs a center back. It would be nice to have a better center back. He's already got Varane, a few others he could play next to him. What position do you think is a priority? And who are some players you think could fill that position?
I know a lot of people are saying Hedera out of Red Bull, but I think he's too similar to Fred, maybe a little bit more technical on the ball. And he's a pressing player, so he win the ball up high for you. But I don't think you want to have two players of similar playing style in that holding midfield position. So who would I bring? I mean, right now, Barcelona needs money. So I know Frankie De Jong is they're looking at probably selling him. I won't mind having a player like that to play the sixth position with Fred. He's on the cheaps, man. Barcelona needs money. They sell him for cheap. I'll take him, man. And then I think honestly, that's what I'll do for they only need like a true six, if they don't want to convert Lindelof. So that's what I'll do. And then just try and get to the season. The reason why I'm saying that is that I hope Ralph is only the coach for only the 6 months and he goes upstairs, right? So the next coach that's coming in, you do want to have the input a little bit as to who you buy. You don't want to, United right now has the highest wage from all the teams. That's why they can never get rid of players. Even Phil Jones is still there. The guy hasn't played in 4 years. He's making like 180 grand. So you can't get rid of him, So I think you just get one player maybe, try and get to summer, see who you can get rid of, and then have the new coach get an input also as to who comes in, instead of just going and buying and getting stuck. Even Pereira is still with United. We're still paying him. It's crazy.
Well, the managerial choice after Rangnick 6 months or the rest of the season, probably a good topic for another day. But I do want to talk about that other midfield position that we think needs to be filled. You're saying Frankie De Jong would be a great option. I think anybody in the world would want Frankie De Jong in their starting lineup. But if we're talking about a true six, I think De Jong is not that type of player, especially playing next to somebody like Fred, who's going to be running around making lots of tackles, because De Jong likes to get forward as well, as we've seen both at Barcelona.
Verratti would be a good one, but United have tried many times and they didn't want to sell him. And I think he likes it at PSG too. So
yeah, but the two players who I would lean toward, who do have some Premier League experience already, are Yves Bissouma at Brighton. I think is ready-made for that kind of position. Playing next to Fred, he'll defend first, he'll defend very aggressively, and then he's also technical enough to start an attack if needed. If he needs to make an extra run going forward, he can also do that. He has a pretty good engine. And then the other one is Wilfred Ndidi at Leicester. Now, if you're talking about money, you said Barcelona is going to sell on the cheap. They need money. And apparently Xavi doesn't like De Jong. Well, that's a great situation to be in. You could probably get him for 30, 35 million. You could probably also get Bissouma or Ndidi for that same price. And these are players who already have that Premier League experience. So if you're weighing up the three, who would you take?
I mean, you got to look at, I like Bissouma, and I like Ndidi. Ndidi gets hurt way too much for my liking. I like Bissouma, but the couple issues is you buying a player from the Premier League. Leicester already freaking took United to the cleaners, selling Maguire and stuff, right? So I won't go with Ndidi. I'll probably go with Bissouma. That's the one I prefer. Reason why I'm saying De Jong is that the cost, and then also we know Barcelona is interested in maybe getting, or at least that's what I keep reading on Sky Sports, getting Martial. So you could do, okay, I take De Jong plus Martial and really get it low for some low cost. If they'll throw in Dembele for us, so I'll take that. I personally, my favorite players on the United team, I think are the most technical are Martial, Sancho, and Pogba. Pogba is probably at the top of the food chain, and then probably Martial and then Sancho, So I will go with that. I think you can teach De Jong to play. The only problem you have is that just hope that he doesn't call Van de Beek, so that's how United treats Dutch players.
Well, if they're playing together, I think that's an ideal situation, right? If they're playing both of them together, Frank next to Fred, and then Van de Beek a little bit higher up in those outside positions, tucked in a little bit. I think that could be a good combination for both of them for sure. But no, you're right. I think if United are looking to sell Martial, Barcelona, according to reports, is interested. You send Martial one way, Frankie comes the other way. who knows, they might even be willing to take a little bit less than 35, 40 million. So that's certainly a good move to consider for United. But for me, I take Basuma for sure. I think he's got all the tools, would fit into the style of play right away. No need to spend time getting used to the Premier League. And I think he's a player ready for a move to a bigger team based off of his performances with Brighton.
Man, speaking of, look at this academy team. I left Smith on my fantasy bench, man, because he didn't start and he comes in and scores. And guess who I started over him? Basuma.
Oh, yeah, that's a sign.
Yeah.
To make his way to United.
Nah, he'll be on the bench, man. No, I'm joking. No, he was start. I like him. He's such a good player.
Well, what about Jesse Lingard? He needs somewhere to go. Where is he off to?
Man, I like him too, but unfortunately, yeah, if I was him, man, he's 28. Nah, he better go get that oil money, man. Call it a day. You know, he had his chance to stay at West Ham, go back this year. Ole told him he'd get minutes, why he believed it. Only he knows. And I think at this point, he should just go to Newcastle, try and get paid and call it a day. It's if he was 2 years younger, I'll say, you know what, maybe West Ham or something like that, but West Ham is not going to win anything. And Newcastle is not going to win anything in the next 2 years for sure, maybe 3. So if that's the case, why don't you just get paid?
Right.
And then at the end of the day, it's a job. So,
well, not even just the money, but if you look at the progression, I don't think West Ham are gonna finish higher than 5th this season.
yeah.
Newcastle sure might get relegated, but he's still getting paid, like you said. If they get relegated, they'll probably bounce right back up because they have the money. They'll be able to buy their players. They come back up. How long do you think before they pass West Ham? I think less than 2 seasons.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And you got to look at the trajectory that clubs that have done that. When City got the money, when Chelsea got the money, when PSG got the money, within 3 years, they will be up there.
Right. So if Lingard...
I'll put him, at 31? And he'll be like a veteran in the locker room.
Right.
They'll keep him there, you know, like, because you become the face. Because the thing that people don't get about Lingard, the reason why United doesn't want him to also leave, it's not for footballing reason. He's probably one of the most savvy social media athletes out there from a marketing standpoint. So that's why United likes the players like the Pogbas, the Lingards of the world, because they drive traffic to their social media, which is money. At the end of the day, it's a business. People forget is that the clubs want to make money, and you might not be playing, but if your social media, you're drawing people in, the commercial advertisements they get, all of that counts. That's why they brought Ronaldo back. They sell jerseys, so.
It'll be an interesting January transfer window for sure. We could probably keep talking for hours and hours about football, but I think in the interest of time, we can call it a first segment. To all of the viewers, if you want to subscribe, please subscribe, give us a like, but most important to us, leave a comment. Tell us what you guys want to hear us talk about, and that'll give us some more relatively pertinent content to talk about. So please leave a comment, and of course, if you want to subscribe, please subscribe. Iron Body, do you have anything to add?
Keep coming out, check the content out. It'll get much better. We have some fun stuff to talk about, you know. This is what we do. We live and breathe soccer, so we'll build a nice community for people who enjoy the game as much as we do.
Right. And after a game like today, watching your academy team beat West Ham, we might even have to have one of our Arsenal buddies join us for a segment. He might be a little happy to talk about how great the Gunners.
Oh man, that'll be good, man, to start getting these academy supporters on, man.
No, that is one of our plans, hopefully before too long, to start having some of our other friends who support other clubs since we both support Manchester United, things could get a little bit biased here. And as you can see, we spent a good portion of the show talking about United, but we do want to balance it out. So as we begin to grow and get a little bit more popular, we'll bring other people in who support other Premier League clubs and also other clubs in other leagues.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right, not a problem. We'll try to do this at least once a week, like we said. And thanks for joining the AX Football very first show.